GMO, I think meddling with nature at that level is quite irresponsible. These are purely commercial forces, definitely not concerned with long-term well-being of the human beings. We should have never allowed it into this country. I believe the new government is not going to go that way, in India at least.
Italy is the first nation to say no to synthetic food, to so-called synthetic meat. It does so with a formal and official act. The resolutions called for a commitment to ban the production, marketing and import of synthetic foods within our territory. These regulations aim to regulate situations where the environment or public health could be at risk, or when there is uncertainty regarding the effects of certain products that are being or will be introduced to the market or consumed. It is crucial to have measures in place to address these potential risks and ensure the safety of the environment and public health in such cases.
U.S. regulators approved the sale of chicken made from animal cells. It allows 2 California companies to offer lab-grown meat to restaurants. The cultivated meat is grown in steel tanks using cells that come from a living animal, a fertilized egg, or a special bank of stored cells.
Finally, one last question that we're thinking a lot about. How do we feed 10 billion people with healthy, sustainable protein throughout this century? This will need a ton of innovation. We're investing heavily in livestock sector and inventions that will give consumers meat options that are better for the earth. I'm thrilled to announce, I'm very excited about this one, tonight, $60 million to establish Bezos Centers for Sustainable Protein that will help grow these ideas. Their inventions will make plant-based lab-grown meats cheaper, healthier, and tastier. And these sustainable proteins really are getting better. Trust me, I've had one, and they are getting so good. You can hardly tell the difference now. I really like them.
Trust me, I've had one, and they are getting so good. You can hardly tell the difference now. I really like them. So good. You can hardly tell the difference now. I really like them.
Anyway, these examples barely scratch the surface of what's possible when we combine hope with action, ingenuity with determination. I don't know if you know this, but think about it. Methane has caused 30% of global warming. So, how are we going to fix it? This is how. We're going to start right here with MethaneSat. It's a game-changing satellite we support with the Environmental Defense Fund. Now, before MethaneSat launched into orbit just last week, it just happened. It was so exciting to watch it go up in the air. We weren't able to see the big picture of where and how bad the methane leaks are. But because of the brilliant minds who figured out a better way, we now have innovative technology which we can see and measure leaks like never before. It's actually incredible. And we're really proud of this data because we're going to make it free for everyone, which is good for those working hard to cut their emissions.
They're putting ingredients that have been banned in other countries into foods when they obviously don't have to. And to ask the question, why? Why is that? I've been seeing a lot of people on social media lately posting stories about how they go to other countries. They leave this continent and they go to other countries. And after being there, not even for very many days, they feel better. And they recognize that that feeling of being healthier and feeling generally overall better, having more energy, less body aches, et cetera, sleeping better, all of it is coming from the food that they're eating being of higher quality. And the people who never leave this country don't have an outside perspective of seeing what that actually is in practice. The labels over there, like in the UK, for example, you can read a label and it's very basic what's in that food. You do not need a high-level chemistry degree to interpret it. And what we have in this country in way of food protection is a ridiculous clown-like joke. We have something known as GRAS, generally recognized as safe, which when people hear it, oh, the FDA says it's GRAS. They're like, oh, it's generally recognized as safe. But what does that actually mean? We generally recognize that it's safe? It has a safe costume on and we stare at it from across the room and we go, I generally recognize that says the word safe on it. I recognized it. That doesn't mean it's safe though. It's a joke. You should read your labels. You should read your labels and become familiar with these things, because they've really gotten people to separate the idea that food, if it's not something that agrees with your body, it can actually irritate the hell out of you.
Aspire Food Group completes production of manufacturing facility. Let me read a few lines without gagging. Aspire's new plant will reportedly produce 9,000 metric tons of crickets every year for human and pet consumption. On May 26th, Aspire Food Group announced that it has completed construction of its alternative protein manufacturing facility. London, Ontario is now home to the world's largest cricket production facility. Aspire's new plant will reportedly produce 9,000 metric tons of crickets every year for human and pet consumption. That's about 2 billion insects to be distributed annually across Canada and throughout the United States. Aspire also reports that it already has orders for the next 2 years. Crickets are currently being explored as a protein-rich superfood. They contain fiber, and are already found in grocery stores and restaurants and have a smaller environmental footprint than traditional protein sources.
はい、まず白を使って芯の部分を使っていきます。こんな感じでですね。はい、でこれ大変熱いので手につかないように、はい、やっていただくときもちょっと呼びかけながらやってます。次緑いきますね。緑は結構多めまで。はい、白にかぶさるような感じでちょっと形見えてきましたかね。元はこんな感じなんです。はい、でここからですよ。ちょっと固めて、ここもつばを作ります。よく見ててくださいね。いきますよ。ゆっくりこう下げて引っ張っていきます。こんな感じで、こんな感じで。今日お待たせしてしまったので大きくしてみました。こんな感じで、はい、サービスで広げてみました。ちょっと大きいので切っちゃいますね。今元ができましたので、これを丸めて形にしていきたいと思います。見えますか、後ろの方。はい。まず白い部分ですね。レタスとかキャベツとか真ん中に芯があると思いますので、白い部分入れていきます。で、こうやって丸めていきますね。こう形整えていきます。まだですよ。まだですよ。ここからですよ。まだありますよ。で、2枚目切った方も巻いていきます。こうすることによってたくさん層ができますからね。
To prove I'm not full of shit, here we go. 4.78 pounds. 2.2 pounds. 4.78. 2.2. Let's look at the other one. 4.9. 2 pounds. Walmart is getting us. They're screwing us. Right? They're screwing us.